Hello, everyone, once again. This is Rob, and welcome back to Media Awareness and another Doctor Who review. This week we are covering the newest episode, Boom. Before I get to that, however, a quick reminder the fundraiser continues. For those of you unaware, I am a disabled individual, and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter all day, every day for my independence, and I need your help. My insurance will not cover anything regarding my scooter. They view it as a luxury item, therefore, it is not covered whatsoever, and parts need replacing ASAP. And I have a spot fund account linked below for this. Any and all help is welcome. I really appreciate everything that you could do. I am unable to walk whatsoever. I am also unable to use any other type of power chair or a standard wheelchair for that matter, as I only have limited use of one hand. So I am essentially bound to this scooter for my everyday life and livelihood. I thrive on my independence. I pride myself on my independence. However, without my scooter, I would be stuck in one place and or bedridden, because this is my gateway to independence, and I do not want to be dependent on people 24/7 for my level of care when there is a great deal of things that I am able to do on my own. So with that stated, please do what you can at the Spot Fund account link below. It is all greatly appreciated and will allow me to purchase the parts necessary to continue the refurbishing of my scooter, in addition to paying the trained technicians to install these parts as well. I do want to extend the gracious thanks to those who have contributed thus far, in addition to those who plan on contributing. Your contributions have and will make a world of difference in my life. Thank you all. I love you all. On with this review. So, this week we are talking about Boom, the new episode of Doctor Who, which aired on Disney Plus on Friday. It is Sunday, and it is almost 1 p.m. But that's okay. I meant to get this up yesterday, but I had some other videos I was working on yesterday, so this was delayed. I watched it this morning while drinking my coffee, and here I am to give you my opinion on it. So, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you don't care, keep watching. you might you might learn something, I guess. Um, so this episode for me is kind of, I want to say it's kind of filler, but it's hard to really see what the end game of this season is, because every episode in Doctor Who is typically different. So it's not really filler, but at the same time, it kind of feels like it is. Uh, Basically, the premise of the episode is the Doctor and Ruby Sunday land on this planet, and Doctor goes out of the TARDIS first. He hears someone calling for help, and before he can find that person, he steps on a landmine in a valley type quarry. Very reminiscent of classic Doctor Who in that aspect. In particular, in an episode, The Genesis of the Daleks, where the Doctor also stepped on a landmine. I digress. So, uh, he's trying not to move, trying to balance his weight on one foot and not put his other foot down. That way it will not go off. Ruby comes out looking for him, and he's talking to her, basically drawing her to his location. She's drawn there, realizes what is going on after he decides to fully explain things. He asks about the lights on the landmine and how they're lit, and uh, he asks her to go and get something roughly 3 or 4 pounds um, to act as a counterbalance so he can shift his weight off of that leg and um, basically put his one leg down. And she finds a canister and uh, brings it back, and he's asking what it is, and it activates and shows a hologram of a deceased gentleman who we saw prior to that. I'm not mentioning that whole sequence because it really doesn't seem all that relevant to anything that's going to be happening in the future of Doctor Who. Not even the name of the planet, really. I think it was just made up for the episode specifically and just left at that. So, if I'm wrong, I will revise that statement in the future, but if we do not see this planet again, I would not be surprised. So, continuing. The hologram is somewhat interactive in terms of the AI and the memories of the individual that it harbors. Um, and the individual has a daughter who lives in a settlement on this planet, and it is a planet at war. They are at war with uh, a, a separate species, but we never see that species. And the doctor starts actually questioning this once some of the other soldiers come forth, and the one is intent on destroying the doctor, and he basically tells her that if he is destroyed either by the uh, the mine, or if she keeps harming him, that there'll be a quantum explosion that is bigger than anything they can imagine, and the girl makes a comment that would destroy more than half the planet. And I feel as though the doctor at that point in time, with his statement, was being a bit overly arrogant uh, in stating how massive the explosion is. I do realize he was doing so to illustrate a point, but it, there's a certain amount of ego that isn't really appealing to me, at least. Um, but I digress again. So, um, basically, the doctor stands on this landmine, is given the canister. He's holding it during this conversation with this soldier who says that he needs to hand it over to his next of kin, who is his daughter, who is there and is still asking where her daddy is. And uh, it is finally removed from him as he is targeted by a laser from the rifle that the soldier is holding, I believe, and it sort of distracts the mine, I suppose, from uh, him. I don't really, I didn't really care enough to really think about what was going on at that point. Basically, though, the doctor uh, finds Ruby Sunday being um, shot, basically, um, in an attempt to save him and everyone there, because she runs up the side of the quarry like area, and this soldier says to shoot her because it will distract the ambulances, and they are coming to assess the situation and gather the uh, individuals who are deemed not to be survivable. And Ruby is shot by accident by one of the girl's admirers, and Ruby is basically laying there primarily unconscious, and doctors telling her to hang on. She's still standing on the landmine, and basically, you know, just telling her not to let go, and etc. And out of nowhere, it starts to snow, as it did in space movies as well. And we know that this is a running theme with this season, this companion, making this companion once again special, just like all of the other companions have been to a primary degree. Most of them have had some sort of reason to be traveling with the Doctor. They've been unique in some way, had some sort of semblance of uh, uh, relevance to them that made them essential to time and space, the Doctor, and etc. etc. So we don't know what her story is yet. All we know is she was left at the church on Ruby Road at Christmas time. That's all we know. And nothing is really explained other than in this episode we see snow falling, and the Doctor uses the hologram of girl's, the young girl's father, who had been absorbed by the ambulance, um, to basically go into the um, AI itself and access the computer and basically stop the war. Because he is determined, as he reiterates to Ruby Sunday, that these people are not fighting an enemy. They landed, they announced their presence by firing shots in the air, and that alerted the military system to react, and basically it was a game of cat and mouse, and it was also a money making scheme for the military, which can be really applied to a lot of things, historically speaking. But this was definitely all planned out, and it was going on for some time. You get the feeling, but these characters that we met and had some interaction with really didn't have uh, much of a relevance other than being uh, plot points for the plot to be bounced off of and worked around so that the Doctor could get off of this landmine and they could leave. Um, which is what happens. The AI of the girl's father is able to um, get the computer system to basically uh, not short circuit, but malfunction, I suppose. Same thing. To an extent where they shut down, basically. Um, and they heal the person that requires healing, which is Ruby Sunday. And she asks what happened. Doctor explains a little bit. They say goodbye to the people that were there, and they get back in the TARDIS and leave. And that is the end of Boom. I think this episode was mediocre. Um, I liked last week's episode better, The Devil's Chord, with the exception of the extensive dance number at the end. At least, in my opinion, it was extensive and excessive, but that's okay. So, yes, Doctor Who, Boom. Give me your thoughts on this episode if you have watched it in the comment section. And I just couldn't help but think back to Genesis of the Daleks while watching this episode, and Tom Baker, his doctor, asking Harry to find, Harry or Sarah, to find a rock to put under the mine, basically to secure the weight that he would be taking off of it and not causing it to go off. Um, and it was a situation that was resolved in, I want to say, maybe under 2 minutes. And this episode was the mine in this episode was the duration of the episode. And the sole purpose, though, was to get the people to discover that they were fighting an enemy that didn't exist. Um, but they were just expendable and being more were being sent there to keep the war machine rolling, so to speak. So there you have Doctor Who Boom. I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know, and let me know what your favorite episode of this season is thus far, and for that matter, your favorite episode of Doctor Who overall. I'm definitely not sure how I feel about this season thus far. I love the Devil's Chord, but the other episodes really haven't knocked me out the way other seasons have. So we shall see what happens next. This is Rob with Media Awareness. Once again, a reminder the fundraiser continues. Please do what you can. Any and all help is welcome. The Spot Fund account is linked below in two places, directly below the title in the description, as well as in a separate section below that. I do want to thank you all once again for watching, and I will see you all soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.